Morning, guys. Just walking in the shop. I've been here a couple hours actually, but I've been trying to start the morning at about 4 a.m. It just seems like you wake up and I'm fresh and got some cool ideas from dreaming or something. But today we're just keep putting tubes in this prerunner chassis, just verifying a bunch of measurements this morning, just double checking. There's a few things I'm gonna come back. I got to pull a bunch of tubes out of it anyway to weld, but I'm getting everything tacked together, so getting all the fitment right and alignment, and then make sure everything is square and build fixtures. And man, there's so many little things that go into play on all this because we're going to build multiples. So just want to do it right and come back, drill all the holes under all the welds, polish off more tubing, and because there's spots where, like here, I didn't polish the tube. But there's a lot of cool things I've done on this chassis. I was trying to make it a little more modular, and so we can change it up for if a different design or wheel height, tire height, or something like that. And mainly it was like these shock towers. The shock towers I did, these were for a 40-inch, but with 18-inch 4.5 Kings on it and 3.0 coilovers with a 60-inch trailing arm. So then shock location, it all varies, whatever. But so I built these shock towers so it kind of was integrated into the chassis, so I wasn't having to do a bunch of outside tubing work, so it all just ties together, and it essentially all goes onto our pivot box that's right there, that built these cool fixtures for, so it all keeps everything aligned. And while I'm getting everything fit up and welded into place and all that, I did not weld the bosses into the pivot boxes yet, just in case there's some warpage or movement or whatever. I mean, there always is going to be, but right now I just have them in there, fixed either into their index locations. So I did cam style fixture hold downs on the chassis to my fixture mounts. I did a lot of plate work tying this all together, because essentially these are trophy trucks, but they're a foot longer in the wheelbase. So changing the chassis setup to a trophy truck wouldn't have been so hard if because you just don't want to always be making new fixtures for everything, especially when you got something that is working. Sorry, I stuttered a little, not stutter, but kind of stumbling on my words. But like I said, I just did a lot of cool things, which I can get more in depth on for you guys here soon. But I'm just trying to make some content for you guys and show you guys some of the stuff we did, and why, and questions. So I got some tube in the way, but there. That's the front end for the bulkhead. I kind of was making it really modular, like the front lower bulkhead, trying to make that one unit. These center A's their own unit, pivot boxes, shock towers, and then the chassis work. I really like my fuel cell setup. I using from Pyrotech. Yeah, it's 103 usable gallons, so it's on side, but it's got Holley fuel mats in it. It's got a top fill, dry brake, 2 fuel pumps built into the tank. So just give you a rough overview. Power Steering Solutions is did the steering box for this. We went with the new billet style Power Steering Solutions steering box, which is really awesome. And another truck I've been doing with is Derek Husted, and he has it, or he put it in his all-wheel drive trophy truck and really loves it. So, but like I said, there's a lot of cool things. Everything we're building is going to be fixtured in. into place, and so we can repeat the process. And like, we're just fitting all these tubes up. So like, yeah, we're going fast, but at the end of the day, it's got to come back. Some of it's got to come back apart. So I did these real cool overlap laps. So I really was to index the tube. Sorry, my finger's over here. Was to really index this tube right here. It's on the inside. It's the same one inside and outside. Just trying to limit how much parts you're cutting, or how many different designs, I would say. But there's a lot of cool stuff. So I was trying to keep that all tied together. The shock bolt holes got these weld washers that we made. Really wanted a real thick surface area right here for when you weld, and it didn't heat shrink it so bad. So these are just rough out of the lathe. So we got to finish doing some polishing on, but it's all 4130. Yeah, I mean, start out with 1 3/4 inch. I mean, we can just keep going on and on, but I just wanted to really kind of walk around this truck and kind of give you a quick overview of what I'm doing. And I mean, it's coming out really, really nice. I mean, there's a few things that I want to go back and change, or I'm going to change. It's not even going back. I just changing it now. But just to make it easier to assemble. So if I just wanted to sell this as a flat pack kit, which is flat on a pallet per se, and the guy at home, the DIY guy at home, can build himself a truck, and doesn't have all the equipment to do it right, they can order a kit from me. So, but there's just so much little detail in these things. Like, every piece I've made here, like, it don't matter if it was these recess bungs for the pivots for the trailing arms. I mean, every piece in-house have made. So I got a JD Square Model 54 bender, which I'm pretty darn impressed with. It's been really, really good. And everything's, it just takes a little time. Everything takes a little time to get set up and tuned in and figured out, how much tube it takes to do the bend, how much tail you need on it from your notch to the bend, so you can, do all the stuff right. And that's, all the stuff that comes a part of fabricating and tubing, bending, and notching. So, and then a while back when I was finishing trophy truck in Kansas City, acquired this tubing box belt sander, and it was 3-phase, so I had to get a digital phase converter. And this thing works pretty awesome. Now it runs on 220, and I got the little holder off the front of the vise off of it right now, just because all my stuff's already notched, so now I'm just using it to prep. It's a really nice tool to prep tubing with. But it was cool because it has your radius for your inside of your coats, your miter, and you got stuff to keep it flat or all that. And then we got all the different spindles for it, for all the different size tubing, which is pretty cool. And then it's got a 6-inch wheel on the back too. I do wish the wheel was more exposed so I can do a little sheet metal on it, but it's all right. It's been really, really good. I just picked up a little Harbor Freight chop saw the other day because I needed something to cut some of the tubing down, and just limited on space. The shop is pretty darn small for what we're doing. But the coolest tool we got here is this Bentech Dragon. Like, It is so impressive. When you can import from Fusion 360, so I import it all in Centerline. So that's, to me, seems the most efficient I've come across, done, is do all the Centerline stuff on the Fusion 360, import it over here. Because I have not gotten fast enough with all the notching into Fusion 360. I mean, I've done it. It just, at the end of the day, it takes time, doing in multiple copies. So you got to draw it all in solid tube or solid stick, and then, it's all these little steps. But I guess that's all what it takes. But for me, it just seems like I'm going slow. So I draw it in Centerline, or I draw it all complete in Fusion 360, but then bring just the center line of the drawing over to the import for BenTech, and then let BenTech do its deal, and then notch. Well, the notching is a whole nother thing. So it's a love-hate right now. I'm trying to figure out every detail. I think now I'm kind of gonna just cut in the first two times I've really used this machine. I cut everything in like one lump sum, and I don't think I'm gonna do that anymore. I think I'm gonna cut it just like the fuel cell area, the section between the fuel cell and the cab, the third seat of the cab, the front end. I think I'm just gonna cut them in sections. Yeah, I think it'll keep them a little more organized and a little less confusion when you're trying to get all the stuff. So I got tubing sitting in it right now. So I got mess everywhere. I've got anywhere I can put something, I'm put it. So, tubing racks with fiberglass on top, and King Shocks stuff behind here on a pallet. Just my plasma table over here though became a workbench as I cut all this tubing. So I gotta hurry up and get this tubing off this workbench so I can get back to cutting some plate work. But really that's everything I got, and I've been acquiring for the last year, trying to get this shop up and going and to get these projects going. I got 2 of these pre-runners to build right now. A third one, I'm building parts for 3. Hit the like button, subscribe, share it, and I'll keep posting more stuff.